This presentation will be about Japan's tourism, on what is offered to tourists that come from outside of the country and tourists who live within the country. As I myself have visited the country itself, I will discuss a selected number of famous landmarks to visit and some of the more underrated places to visit. For those who are as knowledgeable on the country as I am may be familiar with the following places I will discuss in the next few sections. And in case you are not familiar with what Japan offers for vacation spots, you are in for a very informative presentation that might catch your interest. The first tourist spot to talk about is the most popular one to visit in the country, which is Tokyo Tower. Built in the year 1958 and standing at 1,091 feet tall, it is the second tallest structure in Japan and the 23rd tallest tower in the world. The main purpose of the tower is TV broadcasting and being an observation tower for tourists to see the landscape of the city from the top. This is the landmark that tourists would commonly think about when they hear the word Japan. Thanks to the tower frequently being featured on various films and TV shows, everyone in the world knows what Tokyo Tower is. Upon wandering around in the city of Tokyo, the one thing I noticed the city had was its unique selection of vending machines. While vending machines are very common in America and offer drinks and snacks to those making a selection, in Japan, however, the vending machines offer not just drinks and snacks, but as well as pizza, fish, beer, crepes, fishing bait, and many other items to name. Just about anything can be purchased within the grasp of a vending machine. I didn't have the money to try out all of the vending machines other than using the vending machines that offered items I am familiar with. While we're on the topic of Tokyo, this next place I will talk about is a landmark in its own right to visit. It's the Akihabara Railway Station. With the abundance of railway stations within Japan, this one stands out with the shops and market stands that surround the exterior of the main entrance to the station. After the Second World War, this section of the city became a popular market for electronic products, giving it the nickname of Electric City. Over the years, bigger and more decorative stores started to build up around the railway station. And not just electronics are sold, but as well as video games, toys, and home video media is also sold. With the growing pop culture themed stores, shoppers nicknamed the area as Akihabara after the railway station that serves as the main transportation to get to the shopping district. With the majority of my trip being within major cities, I did have a chance to visit a couple national parks and national wonders. The one place I feel is worth talking about is Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is a volcano and the highest peak within the country. The last eruption to ever occur was back in the year 1706. Over the years, Mount Fuji was one of the most commonly visited landmarks to visit, just second to Tokyo Tower. With the large number of tourists year-round, gift shops and nature trails were created around the summit. The visibility of the volcano varies depending on the weather conditions. I only got to see the top of the summit while I was traveling back on an airplane, as there were clouds covering it when I was near the site itself. Moving along to the next city I visited was Kyoto. This place housed a very decorative museum displaying the work of comic book artist Tezuka Osamu. He was Japan's equivalent of Walt Disney, who created tons of memorable characters that are still recognized in Japan to this very day. He was also the one who revolutionized the animation industry in Japan to what it is today. The museum displayed life-size statues of his characters, a gallery of comic book panels, as well as a gallery of original character designs, a gift shop, and a small theater that houses a collection of short films based on his work. Anyone who is a fan of animation or comics in general would find this place to be a must-visit. What I loved most about my trip to Japan was being able to visit a handful of famous landmarks that I only previously seen and knew about through watching films. To actually visit those landmarks up close in person was a real experience to enjoy. The only thing I disliked about the trip was that half of the time I was on a scheduled tour and did not get to do everything that was offered. The next time I visit the country, I will be on my own as opposed to being part of a tour. In conclusion, I enjoyed everything that was offered within Japan. It is a place I would love to go to again and experience more of the country by traveling the towns outside of Tokyo and Kyoto. Anyone who is a fan of the culture itself should consider a trip themselves. The best way to enjoy the country would be to go on a non-scheduled self-tour.